market value at the time of the taking. So it's what the value of that land was last December when the order of taking was recorded. To date, there has been no litigation filed by the landowners seeking additional compensation.
Mr. Russell.
Mr. Moderator, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to find out the category that the Oak Grove School comes under in this formulation.
Mr. Russell, I'd like to, if you could hold your comments for the main motion, I'd like to discuss the amendment and have that voted on before we talk about the other items under Article 23. I will recognize you when we get to that point. Is there anything further to be said on the proposed amendment to Article 23? If not, I'll call for a vote on the proposed amendment. The amendment is to refer line 3 of Article 23 for further study. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Nay. The amendment is lost. We will now proceed to the main motion. Is there anything to be said on the main motion under Article 23? Mr. Russell.
Mr. Moderator, I repose my question of the category that Oak Grove School would come under.
Ms. Pizzolatto to answer the question.
Oak Grove School comes under the category of historic preservation.
What reference would that have to Head Start being?
May I answer the question?
Yes, Ms. Pizzolatto. Did you want to say something further?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
The building is being restored, and then it will be used by Head Start, which it used to be an educational and community facility, and it will be again once it's restored. The historic preservation part comes because it's a historic building in the community of Onset, and we're using funds to restore it to look the way it did and function the way it did previously.
My understanding, Head Start is an agency, a quasi-government agency, and has no present historical relevance. And where would be the community involvement into a preservation of that building? Why wouldn't it be a community center, rather than a Head Start center? That is a government agency that may change at any moment with a new administration. Moderator, if we are both accepting amendments, I would propose the amendment that the category of Head Start be deleted from the designation of this preservation. It's on the description. It's in the description that I have. It's in the description that I have, and I would move that be eliminated. I make the amendment, move that the designation of Head Start as a benefactor of this community preservation monies be eliminated.
Mr. Giorgio, to answer the point about the Head Start.
Madam Moderator, the motion before the floor is to appropriate $150,000 for renovations to the Oak Grove School. That's what the motion is. As the representative from the Community Preservation Committee has stated, the category is historic preservation. The issue of whether that building, once it is restored, whether that's leased to Head Start or any other entity, is a matter that's under the purview of the town administrator under the town charter. It's not relevant to, or it's not necessary to obtain a vote of town meeting. Again, the motion before the body is to appropriate the money to renovate that school for historic preservation purposes.
Mr. Rubin.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I actually was going to say what Town Council more or less had just said. Unless I've forgotten my things about law and whatnot, an historical building is just that. It can't be destroyed. It has to be kept as historical and renovated to meet historical requirements, but then can be rented out to anybody the town sees to rent it to for a fair rental value. So I don't see where we're going here. The building can be restored and then rented to Head Start, or anyone else for that matter, that the town so fits to rent to.
Is there anything further to be said on Article 23? Mr. Russell.
Mrs. Moderator, through you, who owns the building at the present time?
I believe the town does.
Okay, and the work that was done, my familiarity with that building is the fact that they organized a community agency or a community group to be involved in the renovation or the funding of that initial feasibility study, if nothing else. And they used town's funds to do that. And it was a community effort that made this money available, or even began to get the building to this stage. And why is that community agency no longer represented within that?
If anyone can
The
answer the
Oak
question.
Grove Committee?
Mrs. Pillsbury.
I believe that the committee is still active and still working on this project. This particular piece, the $150,000, is only part of the money that's going to be necessary to renovate and fix that building the way it should be for the Head Start use. Head Start is also contributing to the project. So it's technically a partnership in that respect. And it's a way that the town can pay off some of the money that's going to be necessary to renovate the building by leasing it out, and certainly to a worthy educational purpose. So the $150,000 is just one piece of the whole picture. The committee is still active, and one of the proposed uses in the future has to do with the Cape Verdean community, and that's still in play. But it's necessary to renovate the building, restore it to its historic significance, get a use in there that can help pay the bills, and then we can go into another phase that the committee has talked about from the very beginning. The Board of Selectmen is very supportive of that process, and will be ongoing into the future as more plans come together. But we have to get the building renovated, we have to get it rented out, so we can pay the bills and then move into another phase of the project. But the committee will still be active all the way through.
Mrs. Moderator, it's very evident that this is, as stated, a partnership, and if in fact these funds are going toward funding an outside agency, I truly would look for an amendment to oppose that money being used for that purpose, for any other outside agency, a quasi-federal agency, to be benefiting from these community preservation monies.
I think that